I made a video about what kind of money you need to make it in music. A lot of people have been commenting on it. I don't really have a reason to lie. But the reason why most people don't make it in the music industry is fairly simple. It really comes down to money. It's not about talent. And until you understand what you need to have in order to make it, you're not going to make it. Somebody posted a comment. They said, I got a song on the radio. I didn't have to spend any money. Yeah, you got a song on the radio. Congratulations. You didn't have to spend any money. That song won't get played. The only way the radio station is going to play that song is if by chance your song is being played in clubs and people are requesting your songs and calling in and requesting your songs. Do you know how hard it is to get people to call in to request your songs? Like, that's hard to do. It's not easy to do. I'm just giving my advice. It's not like something you got to take, nothing like that. But I think, when somebody's trying to explain something to you, just ask questions about like how things can be better. Don't be so arrogant and think that you know better, because the reality is you don't know my background. You don't know who I am, what I'm speaking about. You don't know who I've dealt with. You don't even know how much money I've had invested in me. Not my money spent, because my money spent is nothing compared to the money invested in me, right? Invested in my groups, I guess, but invested in my main group, and just the situations that I've been in. And what I'm speaking from experience is just saying this one simple thing: like, it's so easy to not understand that you can spend a lot of time treading in circles and not get anywhere. And then you'll wake up one day and you'll realize, oh, damn, like I've been wasting time because I didn't do this one simple thing. In order to make it in music, it requires a super sophisticated but like well-oiled team, meaning somebody's either adding you to an existing team or you've just been blessed with the right individuals around you. Because I'm going to be honest with you, most people don't have musical talent and business skill. It's not common. It's very rare. So you have to be able to merge those two together in order to be successful. And it takes a long time to learn how to be good in business and learn how to be a good music artist that people actually care about. Because here's the deal. Here's the truth about music. If you're really bad, you can be famous because you suck, right? Because you're so bad, you're a joke, you can be famous. Or you can be an exceptional talent and, then have the right type of mindset to get yourself placed where people will be able to put money into you. But then here's the bulk of where things kind of lie with the music industry. It's people who aren't really that good, but they just have a really strong following. And what people never question is, why does that person have a following? Why does that group have a following? A lot of times it just comes down to being able to be in the right situation to get funding behind you. You're part of a conglomerate behind you. Did you guys know that like the Pussycat Dolls you guys knew they were like a burlesque group before they were like a music group, right? But the story behind the Pussycat Dolls, I'll just give you a high level behind it, right? This is public information. So the Pussycat Dolls were, Robin, the lady who created the Pussycat Dolls, was trying to create a group. They were signed to Interscope, right? The Pussycat Dolls were employees of Interscope, meaning they weren't like typical artists. They were like hired employees. Okay, they got a salary. All right. This is according to what I understand, right? The Pussycat Dolls needed a lead person to sing most of the songs and actually be the front person for that. That ended up being Nicole Scherzinger, right? You may have seen her behind the music. I think they did that behind the music where they brought it back and she's explaining this stuff. Her songs were then taken from her solo effort that she was trying to get out because the label wasn't trying to get it out for her. This is Nicole Scherzinger, by the way, right? And they put her stuff over there into the Pussycat Dolls to tie it together to push it out because they knew that if they mixed her with a bunch of other pretty women, that they'd have enough sex appeal to be able to sell the records and stuff like that. So yeah, Nicole Scherzinger is singing all the songs. She's singing most of the backup, right? I think they gave some of the other girls a part here and there on that record, but for the most part, that was Nicole Scherzinger's record. It's all affiliated with Interscope, Jimmy Iovine. Think heavily with will.i.am too. If you think about the first record with some of those songs, some of the way those songs sounded, and I think her affiliation with him was pretty strong back then too. Because I understand he was trying to get her into Black Eyed Peas before it was Fergie. He's trying to get Nicole Scherzinger into the Black Eyed Peas. So this is the business of networking of music and stuff like that. If you notice, the Black Eyed Peas always has like the 3 guys and then like a female, right? Well, it's like that for a reason, because for will.i.am's production style, it works. All that being said, though, the money behind the Pussycat Dolls and the push behind the Pussycat Dolls was done so that not only could they sell you that product, they went on tour pretty heavy, right? I mean, they toured pretty hard for a long time, and their songs instantly were on TV. Like, think about it. The first time you heard Don't Ya, it was everywhere. It was everywhere really quickly. It went from a primary market to a secondary market mad quick. Primary markets being New York, LA. And the only way you can break like that without having any kind of like press is with money. You gotta have money. Let's think of somebody who's even more like considered like a ground up type of an artist. So J. Cole. J. Cole signed to Rock Nation, right? He's got money behind him in order to get him in the situation where he can actually, make some waves. It took a long time because J. Cole's from like Fayetteville, and he's been around that whole triangle and North Carolina triad circuit, but he didn't break here. He broke in New York. He broke out of there. So, but he broke with other people's money, pushing them and getting them there. He's not the only artist that came out of here from that time period. There's other people who got signed to other people's labels, but they didn't have that push behind them to get them going. And it took a while, but he had to build up credibility through a Jay-Z, which was money, and also bringing up other avenues to push them forward. So this idea of like, you're going to be so talented that your talent's going to take you to the top. You've seen it fail so many times. How many times do you guys see American Idol? Super talented people who literally don't do anything at all. And, sometimes people are thinking like, okay, well, this person can sing their tail off. They're going to be great. That's that lie we've been fed. That's the lie you've been fed when you're sitting there thinking about like, I'm going to be able to do something with music without actually having money behind me. Whitney Houston had a ton of money behind her. She was Dionne Warwick's like family. You know what I mean? But she could sing her tail off. One of the most amazing singers of all time. Wouldn't have been her if she hadn't had that money behind her, that push behind her, that Clive Davis push behind her, right? Mariah Carey had a huge push from Sony. She was the Sony equivalent to Whitney Houston. She was their answer, and she was extremely marketable, and that money took her there. Now, luckily for her, she did a good job. She got a lot of money back from it, whatever, with her situation and stuff like that. But yeah, man, for every Mariah Carey, for every Whitney Houston, there's like tens of thousands of like people who you'll never hear of that wasted years of their lives and never got music out. And those people were signed, right? So then you got the people who weren't even signed, who were local and never progressed outside of that. And you got to think like, is that what you want to be? Is that what you want to go with it? Is this what you want? And that's why I said you got to understand how to market yourself, how to position yourself, so that you can actually be able to help people when it comes to taking you to the next level. Because if you're trapped in something, a bad contract, say for example, you signed a bad contract, right? Let's say for example, you do something and you're like working with people who are trying to hold back your opportunities because they don't want you to get ahead. They want to control your situation. Like that type of stuff is only going to hold you back. And I'm just trying to tell you guys the truth. Like, you got to think of yourself like a business. You got to position yourself in the right way, and you got to make basically tough decisions when it comes to who's going to help you get to the next level, because your friends are not always going to be able to push you up to the next point. You kind of have to do from a business standpoint what you need. So you have to make a decision. You just want to have fun, or you want to make this a business. If you want to make it a business, it's going to be a grind. I don't like the word hustle, because hustle to me just kind of implies like shadiness a little bit. But grind, I think, is a great word because it actually means focusing on your craft and trying to get better at what you're trying to do to achieve that goal. I think that is freaking perfect. So I'm going to answer a few of these questions real quick that are on this. Just replying live because, why not? All right. So most of these people on here who replied to this were basically saying like, yeah, I always said money is the key. Money is the way. I got a few other people who, didn't say that. But yeah, like I think one thing that kind of shocked people from this video when I made this video about why you won't make it in the music industry is the amount of money it's going to take in order for you to make it. And so, yeah, we got quoted $250,000 just to get the song played in the South region of mainstream media. And basically what that was is it was a little bit of, I'm not going to say payola, but it was payola. But it was whining and dining. It was putting some money in pockets. However that was done. It was also a mixture of paying for advertisement slots. So like I said, like one way you can do it is you can buy a bunch of ad slots, get your song play that way. So say for example, you're buying like 30-second slots. So you go ahead, if your song's 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you go ahead and buy, what is that? 7 slots, right? Well, that's not 7, that's 9. You buy 9 slots, right? So that's 4. Yeah, that's right. 4 minute is, yeah. So 9 slots, however much that is at that certain point in time. And now your song's getting played. That's one way to get around the system. I mean, I don't know if I'm putting too much out there, but it's the honest to God truth though. But that doesn't say though that you shouldn't be prepared to sell yourself as a product, and you have to think of yourself as a product in order for you to get the most out of it. So I would say like this, I had to learn how to delegate and let go of some control in order for me to get to the height of my career. And I think I learned that lesson too late. And I was trying to do too much by myself. And in doing that, I had control, but I also was limiting myself. And that's the key. The money wasn't coming because I was trying to do it all. And it gets to a point where you cannot do it all. You got to focus on being the best product you can be. I had to focus on being the best artist I could be. And that's a tough thing to deal with when you're used to controlling everything. But you have to be a leader, especially if you're the leader of the group or the leader of the band or whatever, or even if it's yourself. You got to understand, okay, how do I position myself as the best product that would be marketable? Then you have to say, okay, I need people who are going to tell me the honest truth about what it takes for me to be marketable. That's not easy to find. I was lucky I had people along the way that, pointed it out. I'm fairly analytical, so I learned to record my performances, record my practices, and be very, look at myself performing, but view myself in a different way of I'm watching a stranger perform, so therefore I'm able to be critical about those things I don't like. So if it irks me, okay, cool, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. But also be humble enough to realize you don't know everything. You think that you know everything, you don't know everything. So what you think is corny, what you think is weird or not good, could be great. So you have to get other people's opinions, and you have to get people out of your circle's opinions who are going to be honest. Put them in an honest situation. Just send it out and ask questions, right? But the worst type of criticism is friendly criticism where they don't tell you the truth and you don't progress. You just stay the same. You don't want that. You want to always be getting better, always improving when it comes to music, always trying to get to the next level, because even when you begin, you're never where you can potentially be at the top. Even Beyonce practices. Even if you think about those videos with her with Destiny's Child, they were practicing like crazy. And, she wasn't responsible for the business. She was just responsible for being the best singer and the best dancer she could be, right? That's it. That's all she focused on, because it's hard to do that by itself. If you know it, if you've done it, if you've sung, singing is hard. If you dance, you know dancing is hard. If you performed, you know performing and then doing all that stuff together is extremely hard. So you have to practice. It has to be like what you are. It can't be like, oh, I got talent, I'm good. A lot of people got talent and they never mature their talent, and they just stay that person that has potential that never has the actual realized talent. It's just potential talent. And then eventually you get old and you age out. Somebody told me that was an A&R. They're like, yo, you got about 1 more year. You're about to age out of hip hop. You're too old. You're too old. You're gonna have to figure out something else out, because the path you're going, you're gonna be too old to appeal to the young people who are like in high school, maybe even middle school, who will pick you up and rock with you for 4 years because you're part of their youth movement. So if you can catch that youth movement wave, then you can ride that out for 4 years, right? If you can catch that college wave, you can ride that out for 4 years. But you only get 4 years. If you go back and look at it, most people have a 3 to 4 year run. And it's usually centered around young people's lives. Because when you first enter college, it's exciting. When you first enter high school, it's exciting. You're finding stuff that you're trying to grasp hold to figure out who you are, right? You got time to look into music and dig and find other things, talk to other people. Next thing you know, boom, okay, I like this particular artist. I'm gonna rock with this artist for the next 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Okay, cool. But now you've reached another point in your life. You're now out of high school. You're in a different environment. That record may not hit the same way. If that artist isn't pushing those buttons for you, you may have come across somebody else. You may have been introduced to something else. Something bad may have happened to you. Something good may have happened to you. But you're not feeling that no more, and you've moved on. Therefore, that artist, that's why you see people always progressing and moving forward. It's hard to stay the same and sustain it. You kind of have to be smart and wise, and you got to have the money behind you, because a typical record to get promoted for 2 years, right? The next record, if it don't hit, you will go ice cold quick. Think about what happened with Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak was Breezy Lovejoy for the longest. He was talented as hell as Breezy Lovejoy. He was not whack. He was extremely talented. Good music, man. He came out with he did the compilation album Compton for Dr. Dre. He got signed to Interscope because of the Dre connection, Jimmy Iovine, all that stuff like that. Interscope plays a huge part in most people's lives. They don't even realize it. And if you're 30 years old, it does. It did. But that being said, though, he came out with I believe it was Malibu, huge album, did really good. Then he came out with, was it Venice next? Didn't do as good. He kind of went quiet. Luckily, he teamed up with Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars has an incredible story too. He teamed up with Bruno Mars, and they've got their new group, or their new collective called Soul Sonic, which is doing really well, doing older Earth, Wind & Fire music or whatever. But, again, they had to sell that. They had to sell that image too. It wasn't just like Bruno could do anything. It's like Bruno, he did get to a point where he was super big, but, Anderson wasn't as hot as he was when he was with Malibu. But now he's relevant again because of the Bruno link. Bruno's he's reaching out and doing more of the music he wants to do. So it's cool. But anyway, my camera just cut off. So I'm gonna switch to this camera. Let's see if I can switch over to this camera real quick. Keycam. Damn, this is not even coming up. Anyway, thank you guys. I'll talk to you later. I'm Prodigy Music Man. Peace.